Hey folks, Chuck Holton here. I am in a train heading south from Lviv. I'm supposed to be going to Odessa. So I'm back in Ukraine and I'll be here for a couple of weeks reporting on the war and this renewed push by the Russians to try to actually make some gains in this country. I've been on this train since about 10 o'clock last night. It's now 9 o'clock in the morning. So I should have been actually arriving in Odessa right about now, but we're still hours away. Many of the trains in Ukraine are, very delayed at this point because of a lot of factors. It's very crowded. There's a lot of people that are trying to move around, mostly going from east to west, trying to get out of Ukraine. But now with the pullout from the north, with Russian troops leaving the country to the north, there's a lot of people actually returning back to Kyiv and trying to get back to their homes, especially in the areas that were held by Russians. People are very worried about their homes having been looted, and if they haven't been looted, they might still be looted if they don't get back there and try to recover whatever they can. They want to check on loved ones, they want to check on their pets, and so there are a lot of people at the train station in Lviv trying to get back east. And I was supposed to go to Kyiv last night. I actually bought a ticket on a sleeper train to Kyiv from Lviv that was supposed to leave about 11 o'clock, and it got delayed by hours, and so I was going to be sitting around in the train station until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, if the train even went at all. So I kind of made a snap decision, since my plan was to go from Lviv to Kyiv, pick up my body armor and some stuff that I left there when I left Ukraine 3 weeks ago, and then drive from there to Odessa, which is about 8 hours. I decided I'm just going to go straight to Odessa and have my driver meet me down there. So that's what I did. There was a train leaving right away from Lviv, so I ran to the train station, ran to the quay there where the train was, with all my gear, making the train reservation on my phone as I was running, and got on the train with about 10 minutes to spare before it took off. It was a comfortable night. I got this entire berth to myself, so there's a nice little single bed here that I'm on. Here, I'll show you the other one. So it has two of these little single beds, and then a little table, and it's comfortable. It's fairly quiet. I just put my earplugs in and sack out, so I got some good rest last night. I want to talk a little bit about what I expect to be seeing and doing here. As you know, the Russians pulled out of the north, pulled their troops back up into Belarus, and are now moving them around and bringing them back in through the Donbass region. They're just trying to salvage something out of this absolute clown show of an invasion that they did. And I don't think it's going to go well. I think that those troops that they pulled out of the north are already wiped out. Many of them are not going to be refitted for months. So they're going to try to bring more troops into the south, but they're going to have probably about as much success at that as they did up in the north. They're going to try to solidify some gains, maybe complete the takeover of Mariupol. That would have been the only major city that they took in the entire campaign. If they are able to take Mariupol, they're going to keep going after Kharkiv, maybe Sumy. I'm going to go to Mykolaiv, which is right near Kherson, and Kherson is the city in the south that they did actually take over, but there's still a lot of fighting going on in Kherson, so they haven't pacified that area at all. And I think what they're finding out is that they are going to have to completely destroy any area that they want to take. They're not going to take anything intact in this whole country. They're going to have to wipe it out. And they're saying in Mariupol that they've probably killed 10,000 civilians. That's a city. That's a small town full of people. They've wiped out 10,000 civilians. It's so sad to be here and to see what is happening to this country when it's just being absolutely devastated by by one man's ego, by Vladimir Putin's ego. Literally hundreds of thousands of people will die. Many of them will be Russians. And it's just so senseless, so senseless. There's literally no good reason that Vladimir Putin had to invade his neighbor. It's all just power politics. It's all just ego, and unbelievably tragic to see. When you talk to Ukrainians, they have their hearts set like flint on continuing the fight. They're not going to give up. They're angry, and they're turning that anger to good use against the Russians. They are getting quite a few weapons. They say they need more, but they're getting a lot of weapons shipped in here. Obviously, the world leaders in the West expect this to go on for many months because they're already planning arms shipments that won't be here for 5 or 6 months, and so they expect this to go on for a long time. Vladimir Putin's days are numbered, and he will answer to God for what he did in this country. It won't be pretty. So I'm gonna try to keep my head down, get out there closer to the front lines, and take a look at what's happening in Kherson. I mean, from what we'd been hearing on the news, this whole area in the south was pretty well a goner. I mean, it was a done deal. Russia was going to have the whole southern seacoast of Ukraine, cut off Ukraine from the sea. That's not happening. Odessa, by all accounts, is still just running away pretty well normal. Of course, on a war footing. They've got checkpoints, and they've got fortifications going up and that sort of thing, but there's still people going about their daily lives. There's still restaurants open and hotels and things like that. We'll see. I am very interested to see what's going on in Mykolaiv, because I was in Mykolaiv at the beginning of the war, and or actually before the beginning of the war, for a training exercise to see the Ukrainian forces doing some training. And it's very close to Kherson, so we ought to be able to get fairly close to what would be considered the front lines. Although in this war, the front line is wherever, any place that's within 40 kilometers of the Russians, because they are just lobbing rockets at everything they have. Now, by some accounts, they're running out of rockets, and that'd be a really good thing. They are starting to rely more on dumb bombs, and that requires that they be within range. That's 10 to 25 kilometers max range of their artillery. They are bombing anything that they're within range of, but the number of things that they can bomb is shrinking, I think. Doesn't take away from the valiant defense being put up by Ukraine. And Ukraine is, as I've reported several times, actually their army is growing. The number of armored vehicles, tanks, things like that is increasing throughout this war because of what they're capturing from the Russians. They're capturing more than they're losing, and but they are taking losses. I saw this horrific video of 11 Ukrainian troops that were killed when a Russian tank rolled up on them, and they failed to notice that it was a Russian tank. This is part of the problem you get into when you have both sides using the same equipment. This Russian tank rolled up on some Ukrainian soldiers, and they kind of just looked at it and didn't realize it was an enemy tank until it blasted them with a round from the main gun at point blank range and vaporized about 11 guys, and it was all caught on video. Some of the most graphic footage I've seen from this war. Pretty horrible stuff. So be praying for Ukraine. Be praying for me, please. And I'll try to be bringing you the most salient points I can as I report for Newsmax. So be watching Newsmax, and we'll keep on going. Thanks a lot. We appreciate all the supporters. You can go follow me at chuckholton.locals.com and subscribe and actually support the podcast. That'd be helpful. Appreciate that. And all of our new supporters. You guys are great. Thanks a lot. We'll see you later.